question for you. What is your mindset in service of? Because your mind is always going to be in service of something. And if you don't consciously choose what it's in service of, then it will make up its own agenda. And when it does that, it usually doesn't go very well. So your mind can be in service of your soul and your purpose and a vision for the future that inspires you. Your mindset can be in service of your greatest potentiality. Or your mindset can be in service of negativity, pessimism, negative beliefs, the past, other people, expectations, society. You have to choose. And sometimes when we're on a spiritual path, a path of wanting to live consciously, we may put more emphasis on our spiritual journey than we do on our mainstream, core, foundational psychology. And one thing I've learned for myself, and I've seen with people that I've worked with over the last decade, is that no spiritual path or faith path or conscious living path is ever complete if you ignore your mindset and you do not put your mind in service of that spiritual nature of who you are, or your highest potential, or the vision for your future, whatever you want to call it. But it's not complete to ignore your mind and to try to spiritualize your way out of whatever's going on in there, because your neurology works in a certain way. Your neural pathways are programmed in a certain way, and you need to understand how your mind operates. And if you want to live a life where you are free, a free spirit, where you are living in the flow of what is passionate for you, what is inspired, what is intuitive, and living into a vision that inspires you each morning when you get up, that ain't going to happen by default, because we all go through significant mindset conditioning and mind challenges because we're human and you cannot avoid it. And so a big part of living a conscious, awakened life, or a spiritual life, whatever terminology you want to label it with, is learning how to be masterful with your mindset. And the way I like to phrase it is you put your mind in service of your spirit, or put your mind in service of your soul, which is the truest part of you. And when you do that, your mind then begins to support you and work for you, not sabotage you and work against you. You're listening to Practical Spirituality with B, the podcast with spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic. I'm Bernadette Logue. You can call me B, and I'm excited to share this episode with you. So let's dive in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the spiritual mindset that will work for you, not against you. We want your mind to support you, not sabotage you, right? I want you to think about an analogy. And this is from my book, Your Soul Journey Simplified, which if you haven't got, you can grab on my website. It's $5, comes with 4 awesome in-depth spiritual life coaching videos. You can grab that at bernadettelogue.com. So the analogy is this: your soul is the driver of your life, whether you realize it or not. Everything that's unfolding and happening is right on with your soul's agenda, whether you are consciously cognizant of this or not. Your body is like the car that you're traveling in through your life. And your mind is like a GPS that can help you navigate the journey. So your soul is like the driver of your life, the driver of the car. Your body is the vehicle you're traveling in, and your mind is like a GPS. But here's the thing with GPS systems. You have to program them. You don't get in a car and just start driving and follow wherever the GPS was originally defaulting to. You don't just turn it on factory mode and hope it takes you somewhere. You choose where you're going to go, don't you? And you set it and it helps you get there. And the mind is a little bit like that. What happens is when you're born, until now, your mind has been making up its mind about everything it sees, hears, and experiences, everything that's ever been through, educated into, exposed to, everything it's ever heard, seen, done, and it is making up narratives and stories and belief programs, doing the best it can to do one thing, to keep you safe. So you learn what is good, what is bad, what I should and shouldn't do, what I can and cannot do, how to be loved, how to be accepted, how to be successful. And the whole way through your life, as your mind is this incredible machine that can absorb so much data in every second of every day, as it's constantly formulating a narrative, a paradigm that colours the way that you look at everything. How you look at yourself, how you look at other people, how you look at relationships, love, money, opportunities, the world. And because of that paradigm, which becomes like a lens you look through, it affects all the ways that you think, feel, choose, behave, habits you run, things you choose to do, choose not to do. And all of that becomes the results of your life. So when you want a fabulous life, whether you're spiritual or not, the most aligned mindset is always going to be a mindset where you've cleaned up the programming, you've chosen deliberately the kind of life you want to live that makes your heart sing, i.e., a soul-aligned path, because when you're aligned with your soul, you are in a sense of inspiration and passion and intuition and flow. And the mindset, when it is aligned and in support of your soul, will help you, not hinder you. I think we all know that a mindset that's left unchecked is very painful to live with, and you have to live with yourself 24/7. So it's quite something to have to wake up every day inside a world between your two ears where the real estate's not particularly pleasant, where you have picked up conditioning that says not very nice things about yourself and quite limiting things about the world around you and certain other aspects of what you can achieve and what you're worth and what's safe and what's dangerous. And ironically, what happens is the way the world works and the way energy works is that your experience of what you call life out there, which is just an energy-based universe showing up in physical matter, is that it will mirror to you what you believe, think, and feel. And so then you look at all of that and you say, oh, look, there's evidence to support my beliefs that I'm not worthy. And there's evidence to support my beliefs that this world is not safe and it's dangerous and it's filled with crazy people. Or there's evidence that people never listen to me and I'm unsupported. Or there's evidence that fill in the blank. I'm rejected. People don't get me. You can only get so far. Whatever it is. But it's not any more than a reflection that is meeting your very energy signature because of a mindset that is not free. So in this episode, I'm going to give you 3 things that support you to put your mindset in service of your soul, which you could just say in another way, to support your mindset to be free, or what I like to call the spiritual mindset. So the first tip is this. You want to heal all loveless beliefs in your mind. Because for as long as you're carrying around belief systems that limit you, you will experience the results of that. And your soul is anything but limited. It is limitless. It is infinite. It has no bounds. It is not ruled by the rules of this world. It is one with oneness, source, God, creator, divinity, universe. And that is who you are. Full stop, no debate. So now what inside your mind, sweet soul friend, is not that? What inside your mind says there is any limit, diminishment or negativity that carries you away from that. Because the second you notice that, that is your mind harming you. That is your mind doing what it's best doing, which is trying to make up its mind about what's real in the world, and it's trying to keep you safe, but what it's really doing is it's harming you, and you have to live with it every day, right? And I know how painful that is, and I know you do too. You know, for many years I've run a course, a 6-week program called Master Your Mind, liberating people of this issue. If that interests you, that is now an accelerator module that is included within the Soul Odyssey program. So it's delivered within the context of a spiritually awakened life path. You can find out more information about that at bernadettelogue.com, and you will find there on the main menu the Soul Odyssey program, where you can dive right in. Enrollment is open, and Master Your Mind is integrated within that. It's a very popular and very powerful module for healing loveless beliefs. But I'm going to give you some tips, about 3 tips for you to start utilizing now if you're aware of some of the loveless beliefs that you might be carrying. So, the first tip is you want to see where your beliefs came from, because realizing that they are conditioned perspectives you've picked up somewhere during your life journey, not the truth of who you are as a soul and who you were born as, that creates a little bit of distance and a little bit of objectivity. The second tip around healing loveless beliefs is once you've identified them and you've seen where they came from, you begin to challenge the validity of those beliefs like the intelligent person that you are. In light of knowing that you are a soul from source, you are one with the oneness, you have no limits and no bounds, and the world around you is simply mirroring your own beliefs, thoughts, and feelings to you, start to challenge the validity of these limiting beliefs. Challenge the validity of you're not worthy. Is that so? Challenge the validity of people always reject me. Is that so? Challenge the validity of there's never enough to go around. Is that so? Is this the universal truth, or is this based on a number of incidents that you experienced and you made it truth and fact, and now you live your life through that lens? Right? A little taste of what you need to do to start to break down and crack your attachment to those beliefs. And lastly, once you have started to do that, you want to be consistent, repetitive, and relentless in training your sweet mind in a new direction. Your mind needs one thing from you to start to shift into service of your soul, and it's this. It needs loving leadership from you. And it's not going to come from anyone else. No one else is in your mind 24/7 with you. No one else is there with you at 3 a.m. in the morning when you wake up and that anxiety and stress and sadness kicks in. No one else is there with you when you're about to go into the job interview or the important meeting or the important speech and your mind is looping and doing somersaults. No one else is there in your shoes when you have to make big choices. So you have to provide loving leadership to your mind. And that means training your mind about what is true and what you want it to do. Because if you don't, it will go off on its own tangent and it will make up its mind about what it thinks is true based on the old, based on the conditioning, based on the limitations, the loveless beliefs. And then it will take you down paths doing things that are not what you want to do. And we call that self-sabotage, when what it really is self-protection and the mind obeying its own programming and having you run patterns as a result. So that is the first part of what I call a spiritual mindset, right? A mindset that's in service of your soul, a mindset that's in service of you being free. The second element beyond healing loveless beliefs is this. You want to remain open and humble as a person who's on a spiritual, conscious, awakened path, and not ever get into a situation where you make up your mind that you know everything and that you've arrived and that you've figured it out. Because there's a great desire on this path to become enlightened. And then we want to believe that we're enlightened, and we want to believe that we've figured out all the beliefs about the world and we know how the universe works. And the further you go down the path, the more attached you can become to thinking, oh, finally I get it. Finally, I understand. But ironically, the greatest arrival point to know that you've reached some level of enlightenment and some level of true freedom, spiritually and in your consciousness, is when you arrive to the understanding inside yourself that you know nothing. And that might happen after 10, 20, 30 years on the path of accumulating as much knowledge and wisdom as you can to arrive at the understanding that you've got lots of beautiful understanding, knowledge and wisdom, and we're very grateful for it. And yet we are completely like children in kindergarten when it comes to understanding the mysteries of life in the universe. And it is meant to be that way, because if you make up your mind that you already know and you lock and load like concrete on your faith belief system or your spiritual belief system or your understanding of the universe or whatever you want to call it, you are no longer open because you're closed, because you've said, I know. And you've said, my way is the highway, and anybody else's views that don't align with that, that's not right because I know, and this is my belief system. And what that means is you are no longer reachable and teachable. So your higher power, God, creator, universe, divinity, unseen team of helpers guiding your soul's journey cannot reach you if you are in, I know, I've already figured this out, or I know everything, or I don't want to hear anything else. I don't want to hear anything that challenges my deeply held beliefs, because I can't bear to hear that, because I've only just figured out what everything is, and it soothes my nerves to think that I know, right? And we don't want to be challenged. But the point is that when we do that, we actually disconnect and shut ourselves off, and our mind is no longer in service of our soul. Our mind wants to be like an open book to receive true spiritual wisdom and to utilize that to navigate our path. But if our mind goes, I know, locked and closed, we can no longer receive that divine wisdom channeling through us, flowing through us, coming to us. I like the mantra, and I share this in my book, Your Soul Journey Simplified, which you can get on my website, bernadettelogue.com. I like this mantra to stay open, humble, reachable and teachable. And it's this: I don't know, it's okay, it's meant to be that way. And I had a client say to me the other day that, they were finding it really uneasy and anxious, that they realized that they didn't know everything and they'd been on the path for a very long time, and that they were feeling really uncomfortable about still feeling like a beginner. But the reality is that we are like little children to come unto life and to have grace and humility to show up with an open mind and an open heart every day for the mystery of this incredible reality to reveal itself to us in ever greater detail. There is nothing to be scared of or ashamed about if you feel like a beginner. I've had a lot of people say, I feel like I've regressed and I don't know anything and I've been on this path for so long. That's fabulous. That's no problem. Don't make it a problem. Who's making it a problem? Your soul's not making it a problem. Guess what's making it a problem? Your mind, because your mind's made up a story that says you should know, right? And lastly, the third element of the spiritual mindset, a mindset that supports you, not sabotages you and helps you to be free, is this: you want to welcome truth without fear. If we are afraid of seeing the truth about ourselves, about life, about what we need to sort out inside ourselves or in our life, if we live in denial, if we, put blinkers on and don't want to see and don't want to hear, then we miss out. And when we say welcome truth without fear, it's just to say I'm really willing and open to hear and see and experience all that life, God, created divinity would have me see, hear and understand. And I'm not afraid. There's a quote from A Course in Miracles, which I love, and it says this: do not forget that truth can only come where it is welcomed without fear. When you have fear vibrationally is not in alignment with oneness, source, God, creator, divinity. And so when you're in fear, truth can't enter your reality because you're not a frequency for it. And the kind of fear I'm talking about here is the fear of seeing and expanding your understanding in a direction that might not currently align with your beliefs, that may not feel easy to see and absorb. And so really, like on the spiritual path, one thing we learn on a conscious living path is we do get to a point where we learn to surrender. And we learn to say, I'm not in control and I'm not going to control this ride anymore because I really was never controlling it in the first place. I just pretended to myself that I was controlling it. And all I'm really doing is throttling the life out of myself and my life journey and my potential by trying to have it only look the way I want it to look. It's very courageous to get up in the morning and say to life, I am willing to be shown the truth. Show it to me. Because it's not always nice. Because sometimes you get shown things about yourself that are uncomfortable. Life wants you to see those things. Why? So you can resolve them and be free. It might show you things about your life situation that aren't working, and that might not be pleasant to see, because then you might have to do something about it. And why does life want to do that for you? Because life loves you and life wants you to be free. And your freedom starts with your mindset. The reason mindset is so important for your spiritual, conscious, awakened path is this. It doesn't matter how spiritual you are. If you don't clean up your mindset, your mind is the greatest block to the expansion of your consciousness and the awakening of your true nature. I don't need to give you any evidence for that because you're a human being and you know what it's like to live inside a mindset that's locked down with loveless beliefs and fear. And you tell me, what does that feel like? It certainly does not feel like freedom and spiritual alignment, does it? No. And I say it with love because I've been here, done that, gone through all of it, helped other people do it. But it's a loving reminder to you that it doesn't take a lot of hard work to start to come into a new relationship with your mind and to come into loving leadership of your mind to set yourself free in a way that will support you with listening to your intuition, following your passions, inspirations to live your soul-aligned life. Because what will stop you? Well, loveless beliefs, fears, mind noise, getting down on yourself, worry, doubt, right? Those things just all get in the way of you channeling the essence of your soul to dance and play in this world. What will stop you seeing the signs and synchronicities and the divine guidance that's coming to you and through you to help you on your life journey? Your mind. Fear, doubt, second-guessing, worry, loveless beliefs. So in every way, this mindset piece is so important for your spiritual journey. And setting that aside, even if you're like atheist, which is cool, then it's still a really important part because it's like the core of your experience. You have to wake up in your mind and look through your eyes every day from the neurology of your own programming. So it doesn't matter who you are and what your belief about the world is, sorting psychology is so important. So if you want help with that, come over and visit me at bernadettelogue.com inside the Soul Odyssey group coaching program, which is open for enrollment. There are all the tools, step-by-step processes, proven methodologies that will not only set you free in your mindset, expand your consciousness, get your mind in service of your soul, but everything else that you need to live a soul-aligned, conscious, awakened life into the fullest potential, carrying you into transcendence, greater enlightenment, more peace, more happiness, more passion, purpose, fulfillment, and magic.
Thanks for listening to Practical Spirituality with B. I'll talk to you next episode for more spiritual advice for your everyday life, helping you align with your soul so you can live with purpose, fulfillment, and magic.